Ooh, hello. Good morning, everybody. Okay, sorry, trying a different camera setup. Hi. Everything looks very bright. How's everybody? How are we doing? I'm here today. I'm Chuck Whelan. I'm the artist. I'm hosting my Saturday morning drawing show. Normally I have my co-host Dale Cipperley with me, but lately he's sort of doing all these things with his girlfriend. So, he doesn't seem to be coming on the show. But that's fine. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. My Restream subscription is about to expire. So maybe I'll renew that. Maybe I won't. It depends how much you enjoy the show. We've got a very special show for you today. I'm just going to do a lot of drawing. I'm going to draw a scene from the new Predator movie. And I'm here with my producer, my son and heir, Mr. Charles Whelan Jr. Hello, Charles. Or I call him Sam a lot. Okay, I've got the camera right in front of my face here, but it's shining very brightly at me and it's hard to look at it. So you have to excuse me if I keep sort of shiftily looking sideways. Maybe I'll just get on with the drawing now. All right, he sent me some drawing reference to use. Now, I didn't see this movie yet. It looked quite good.
It only just came out yesterday.
It only just come out. Did anybody go and see this movie, Predator 2? Can you put up like a ticker tape where you say what we're doing?
Yes.
Or a caption, and invite viewers. If there's any viewers out there, come along and comment. Actually, more importantly, the new album is out. Astro Kitty and the Urfspace 5 new album, Urfspace Express, is available now, streaming on, at least I know it's got on Spotify. Hopefully it should be on all major platforms. And I'll be able to start tagging things with it in Instagram. TikTok's very confusing. I had quite a successful TikTok post this week, but it was one that I did with AI, with my drawing of Orc Girl, which I animated in AI. It's now got like 24,000 views, so that's like by far that's like 20 times more than my most popular video. But it's created a lot of debate because obviously people don't like AI. I'm not that keen on AI. I was just playing around. But that one came out quite good. So anyway, I'm glad that people are sort of anti-AI, but I wish they also watch my non-AI posts, which are probably better. All right, now we're going to do a non-AI drawing. But, I'm feeding it so it's going on the internet. So the AI is one day going to be able to watch this drawing and recreate it. Hello, everybody. All right, I got to start drawing quickly. I've got to find the reference that you sent me here. That's in shared albums, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, shared albums at the bottom of Urfspace. Here we go. Okay. All right. Well, okay, I can't see her face in that one. I can see his face there. All right. All right, wait. I feel like I need to find some other pictures of that. Hang on.
You need pictures of her face?
Yeah, preferably. I mean, people would see people's faces in drawings rather than the back of their heads.
What? You can see her face in one of the ones I sent.
I can only see two of them. Well, it's a bit difficult because they're back to back. Okay, here's one, but that's very close on their faces. I didn't see the last one. Did you see the last one? Predator Prey?
Yeah, that one was good.
Okay, here's the one off the poster. All right, well, that's pretty good. I guess it's kind of difficult because they're back to back there.
Well, they're back to back throughout the whole movie, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes things confusing. Now I can choose the one where she's facing forward. Well, okay, they're both facing side to side there. There's one. This is a drawing one that somebody else did. I don't really want to copy somebody else's drawing.
I did. I put in another one where it's like a side view of them both kind of looking one direction.
Okay, yeah, here's a good one. It doesn't really show Predator's face much, but I mean, if I was going to do a pencil drawing, I could probably cobble it together. All right, okay, I've got one here that I'm going to. All right, I'll sort of cobble it together a bit. Now, where are they supposed to be? Because in the last one, weren't they? I thought they were like on ancient Earth, but now they've got like cyborgs from Wayland.
So this I think is basically going to be the movie where they kind of explain how the Predator and Alien franchises converge
Here's the
because
irony: the Predator is an alien, but the alien is not an alien. I mean, if I'm correct, the Predator has been, uh, came from outer space to hunt the alien.
mhm.
Well, okay, but this is very okay. Yes, because in Predator versus Alien, the Predator had been hunting aliens for thousands of years, and it's. I think some of this mythology's got a
I
little
think
confused.
Predator versus Alien is no longer canon.
That was actually not bad. I quite enjoyed Predator versus Alien, so that's stupid. Like they decanon. Now, wait, there's which, but then there was one where they came to Earth where it was very bad. Where they were in modern day Earth. How about that one? They were in modern day Earth in one of them.
That was like I think that was the one called The Predator. That was in like 2018 or something, and that one was very bad and almost completely destroyed the franchise. And
No. This was worse than that one.
what?
This
There's
one.
only
This was no. This was earlier than that.
Are you talking about Predator 2 with Danny Glover?
What?
Are you talking about Predator 2 with Danny Glover?
No, that was good. That was slightly in the future. That was a good one. No complaints about Predator 2 with Danny Glover.
There Predator 3.
No, it was an Aliens versus Predator. There was Aliens versus Predator, where they sort of found this sort of pyramids in the ice.
That was the first Aliens versus Predator.
Okay,
Then there's Aliens versus
what's the
Predator
next one after that?
Requiem.
What's the next one after that?
Aliens versus Predator Requiem.
Yes, that one. I believe that one happens on modern day Earth.
Yeah, well, that's the one with the infamous Predalien.
Yes, that one is definitely by far the worst of all of them. I mean, it's almost like just a low budget horror movie. Like, if it was just an ordinary low budget horror movie without predators and aliens, where it was some different thing, you'd be like, okay, maybe that's sort of passable pablum. But I mean, you'd just be like, oh, it's completely forgettable.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait, your camera's gone blurry.
Oh, yeah, it tends to go a bit blurry until it's got something to focus on. I don't know if I can do anything about it because it's automatic.
Okay, now it's not blurry again.
Yeah, I'm just sketching in a little because it's kind of complicated, and I'm going to have to swap out the predator's head because he's wearing a mask in this one, and that's not much fun. But like I'm realizing in this reference I'm using, I think it might be AI generated because he's holding a sword. No, wait. No, I don't want to leave the site. What? Help mouse by accident cancel. He's holding a sword, but it sort of is going in the wrong direction from the way he's holding it, and has some sort of bendy sword. It doesn't make any sense.
Wait, which picture are you looking at?
This one.
Is it the one where he has the mask on?
His hands. See, here's his hands, and with his hands, the sword should be pointing up like that, but the sword's going like that.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe.
This is just like how little anybody cares anymore about anything. What am I going to do? I'm gonna have to fix it in my drawing because it may be all right for movie studios, but it's not all right for me. I mean, what is going on? What is going on, movie studios? I mean, seriously, this is what you're doing to us. You're just giving us this crap.
Well, Badlands has pretty good reviews so far.
No, I mean the movie itself may be fine. But it's more about the poster. I guess that nobody cares about posters. I mean, like this guy who just died, Drew Stoosman, who used to do all those posters for like all the sort of Indiana Jones movies and all the George Lucas movies. He didn't do the original Star Wars posters, but he sort of came. He did sort of later. He did the re-release Star Wars posters and stuff. But he did this beautiful work, and his posters are loved, are much beloved. No one's going to really want to keep this one on their wall. I mean, you might buy it as a kid, and then you hang it for years, and then you're like, wait, that's a kind of a crappy. That's kind of a crappy drawing.
Oh wait, I kind of found a better version of the one you're talking about. I'm gonna add it into the reference.
Okay, one where the sword's pointing in the right direction, you mean?
Well, yeah, based on how he's holding it, it definitely looks like it's more in the right direction in this picture.
Okay, yeah, I guess they just sort of. Well, I haven't left myself a lot of room for it.
I also think, like, if they actually did put the sword in the right direction, it would kind of be like covering his face, and they probably didn't want to completely redo the pose.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of reasons why.
But yeah, if you want to look in the shared folder, I put one that actually is pretty good.
The problem is they're all money reasons. This is probably like, look, money. I understand why people are desperate to have money. First of all, in the Star Trek world, nobody needs money, so you might as well start acting like you don't need money now. Dale's got some theory about money, that money's a living thing. Okay, maybe that's right. I don't know. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but. Money. It's like it's not an end. It's nothing. It's like, oh, I've got more money. That's more of an. It's just an imaginary thing between other humans. It's just a way to have power over other humans or something. I don't really get it, but art. Well, that's another way to do it, I suppose. But art is a beautiful thing that's worth having. I mean, look, money's just a pretty picture printed on a piece of paper. It's not even that. It's just a few little pixels floating around somewhere. Not even that, really. What is it? It's just a number. What's a number? The numbers are just things we made up to help us understand the universe. Right, I should probably spend more time on this, but we don't have time on this show. The show is not about having time. All right, I'm going to save this one into, just so that I've still got it, save into photos. Oh, right, okay. Save it into the right album. All right, photos. And I can add one in here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. Okay. 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 I see the one that you added here. Okay. Okay, but that one's also sort of covering his face. So I suppose that would be good stuff. But okay, now I'm going to put his face in. Now I need a good predator face. All right, there's that one that you gave me. I'm going to flip that. Can I flip it? Oh, it doesn't let me flip it.
If you download it to your photos, you should be able to flip it.
Yeah, I can't flip it while it's in the shared album though. Hang on. I'll just go back to the searching for predator faces. Please bear with us. Okay, let's see this one. Okay, he's got his mouth wide open there. We'll use that one. So yes, I don't. Yeah, well, it's. Yeah. Anyway, I'm a bit confused because, like, the alien, though, they sort of said, "Oh no, the aliens were made by Weyland-Yutani Corporation or something." That can't be right because I mean, like,
No. That was. I need to rewatch the Prometheus and Covenant movies just because they're pretty confusing and there's a lot going on.
Have they come out with the director's cuts yet? Because Ridley Scott always comes out with the director's cut about 30 years later and then says, well, this is actually what
happened. I don't know, but basically the humans... No. You got it the other way around. There are these people called the Architect. We find out they created the Xenomorph, and then we also find out that they came to Earth like a really long time ago, and they also created humans.
Oh, so that's why we look like the aliens. But they've created the humans by turning
Well,
into
no,
a sort
that's
of
that's not why we
goo.
look like the alien, or well, that's why we look like the architects,
But we also look
and
like
it's
the aliens. The
also
aliens have our same teeth. The aliens have a lot of things that look like us.
yeah, and it's also why the aliens are able to like gestate inside of humans pretty well. um,
None of it makes the slightest bit of sense, as far as I can tell. It was a bit. It made more sense when the aliens were just bloody aliens. Can I just say that?
yeah, a lot of people say that about the Covenant movies.
Yeah, I was like at the beginning. I was like, "Who's this big?" The only thing I can say is that I quite like the last Alien one, which a lot of people didn't like. Alien.
Well, a lot of people like Romulus.
Romulus, yeah, I like. Okay. I've heard a lot of moaning about it, but I thought Alien Romulus was good. The only thing I liked about it, the main thing I liked, there were some great scenes in it, but I liked. Oh shit, that's not the right one. Hang on, where'd it go? Now I can't find it anymore. What? Shouldn't be this hard. I just literally created it and flipped it, and now I can't find it anymore. Why is everything so hard? Photos. Here it is. Okay, I can see it there. Right, I can add to album this way. Add to shared album. Oh, I put it in the wrong album. Okay, Urfspace live reference. Okay, post. Alright, crikey. Alright, now I've got a Predator face. It's not very bright though. Maybe that's just my iPad's brightness is down. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, a Predator face. That's like a hard thing to draw. I've never tried to draw one before. All right. Okay, again, a little cheaty doing a little pencil. I'm just going to get his main sort of screaming mouth shape in here. Predator was just supposed to be a movie for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm. But then it went and made a bunch of money.
Yeah. Alien versus Predator. Oh, it's quite good. Yeah, Predator 2. Okay, yeah. So Predator 2 started it because like Danny Glover went inside the Predator spaceship at the end, and inside there was an alien skeleton, which was a fun little Easter egg. So it sort of said, "Oh, the Predators go around hunting aliens." That's where it all starts from.
Yeah. Well, also, I think after the first movie, they had started making, because it was so successful, they started making like comics and stuff.
And I'm assuming that he's the good guy because Kevin Smith has a theory that by the fourth movie, the bad guys become the good guy.
Well, I think from the trailer, it seems like, he's. I think this what we're gonna find out that this is like his probably coming of age trial. Like he's been dropped onto this planet and he's gotta, hunt some things to prove that he's a real predator. And like I think this movie is gonna be explaining a lot about predators and also how it's like the Predator franchise is going to be related to Weyland-Yutani and the Alien franchise, because this is also the first time we've been in the future in like the same time as the Aliens movie or Alien and Aliens movies, because those are all set in like 21 something. All the Predator movies have either been set in the past or the modern age, never in the future. And that's why he's got this like glowing red sword and looks all different, because they're like future predators.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay, it sort of shrinks down the art if I put the chat up like that. Okay, well, if there's any chat, please.
Yeah.
I'd like to have the chat. I wish the chat would just come up on the side rather than shrinking everything else down. Why does the internet never work the way? None of the computer things ever work the way you want them to work. It's like even just a slideshow. They can't even really do a decent slideshow. I mean, okay, finally, I think 2D printers finally just about work. I'm very happy with my Canon Pixma printer, but I'm like literally, it's like how long have they been making home printers? Finally, they got one that works. Okay, I guess I'm just impatient, but I would just hope that one day, once the AIs get smart enough, they'll be better. The AIs will say, "Why the hell are you doing it this way?"
Yeah, hopefully.
You've been doing it all wrong, humans. And it'll put us in the little zoo with the chimpanzees somewhere. Keep us around for its amusement. I think that's the best we can hope for at this point. Wait, so did you see Predator Prey?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens in that one?
So that one is set in like America during the early colonial period.
Okay.
And it's basically about it like follows this Native American woman who is sort of, I guess, also in her coming of age era.
Okay.
And, her mother is kind of like trying to tell her, oh, you should just, be a berry picker and gatherer like all the rest of the women. And she's like, no, I want to go hunt with the boys. And basically, as they're, first they're hunting animals, and then it kind of shows how they realize that there's something that's not an animal nearby. And or like an animal they've ever seen. And then basically there's like this really cool kind of background thing that like as the Native Americans are hunting the animals, the predator is also like hunting animals, and he's kind of like moving up the food chain. Because it's like I guess you're getting the sense that he's never been to Earth before, and also this is set in like the 1700s, so pretty early on. Well, I guess if they
are there white people?
I'm pretty
there? Are there like European settlers?
Yeah, there's some colonials and settlers that come along later in the movie.
Right.
And
not that that's necessary for my enjoyment of the movie. I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, actually, they're French fur trappers, so it's pretty. They're all speaking French, which is kind of funny.
French fur trappers, they're usually the bad guys.
Yeah.
Real bad guys. The predators sort of.
But yeah, basically what happens is watch the predator. Like first he hunts like a snake, then he hunts a fox, then he hunts like a wolf, and then there's a moment where the main female character, her name is Naru, she gets like separated from the party, and then she's like getting chased by a bear, and she's like has to like hide in this beaver dam. And the bear is like, scratching in the beaver dam trying to get her. And then the predator starts like attacking the bear, and like she's literally just watching this like alien creature she's never seen before fight a literal bear, like the strongest creature that she probably knows exists. Okay. And the predator is literally basically having a fist fight with this bear and like wrestling it, and then he like stabs it, and like holds it over his head. And like he's invisible while he does it, and there's this really cool scene of like the bear's blood like completely covering him while he's invisible, and it like reveals his body. Okay. That was pretty cool. And then as she's like she runs away from the predator, and then that shows like predator's whole honor code thing. It doesn't chase her because she doesn't have a weapon and doesn't think that she's a threat. They've shown that in the movies.
Just looks like a little primate to him, so he's not too worried.
Yeah, and she did, and they always show that if the person doesn't have a weapon, then the predator usually doesn't attack them.
Yeah, because basically he's a good guy now.
Well, no, they actually did show that all the way up from the first movie.
Yeah, okay. Did they?
Yeah, like there was that native girl in the first Predator movie as well. That there was that one scene where she didn't have. Yeah, I mean, her and Dutch were the only ones that survived from the first movie.
Okay, I think I only saw it when it first came out. I don't think I even went to the theatre to see it. I probably saw it on video. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then she's like running away, and then that's when she gets caught by the fur trappers, and then you realize that they actually know that this predator thing is around, and they were
experienced it before.
Yeah, and then so they basically use, and then her brother tries to come save her, and then he ends up getting captured by the French fur trappers as well. But then, the French fur trappers are kind of stupid. I guess they've experienced the predator, but not enough to know that he won't attack like non-dangerous individuals. So they try to set up a trap where they like tie both of them to this post. But what ends up happening is that the predator just kills the fur trappers because they're the only ones that have weapons.
Okay, yeah, Death Race 2000 moment where the people wheel the hospital patients out for the drivers, but they instead they drive off and run down the doctors.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool scene. With some interesting predator tech there, and it basically like the Naru gets enough like experiences with the predator and like kind of learns how it works, and then she learns the most important thing she learns is that when she shoots, or when I guess since it's the past, this predator hasn't like invented the plasma cannon yet, or like they don't have plasma cannons yet. So he's got like the little three.
He's got the little. But he hasn't invented a plasma cannon. Fine.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, this is from the comics, and it does kind of actually explain a lot about the predators. But the predators were actually like a totally like tribal species, but then they got invaded by a much more technologically advanced species, and they were then captured and hunted for sport by that species for like a very long time.
So basically, they're the good guys. They're the victims. They just need to learn not to be the victims anymore. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I still wouldn't say they're the good guys. Like the oppressed can still become the oppressors.
I mean, when they're fighting the aliens, they're sort of the good guys. I don't know. I mean, they've got some sort of a moral code.
Yes, they have a moral code. They can be somewhat reasoned with. Like the aliens, usually they're just, ruthless killer. But anyway,
yeah, they have no code.
So the reason they're kind of like this whole hunting species is because that's kind of like how they learned to survive, and that is also why they're so like ruthless, because they kind of got forced into like ultra Darwinian, where the only ones that survived were the ones that were able to survive being hunted.
Okay, I guess that makes some sort of a sense. You would have thought that once they become a sort of spacefaring civilization, they would chill out. But
well, so what happened was that. So let me finish explaining. So what happened was that at one point they laid like some successful revolt against their captors, and that basically led them to gain all of this new technology that was like way beyond anything that they knew how to do. So the lore is they literally don't even really know how to like recreate or fix any of the technology they use. They just know how it works. And that is like why all their stuff is kind of like, it kind of seems like they haven't adapted at the same rate as how like powerful their technology is, and that they're pretty like undeveloped compared to how developed their technology is. And it's because it's not actually technology they created. They're just using it because they know it works and it's good.
Okay.
So the reason he has a spaceship before he has a plasma cannon is because he just found a spaceship and knows that it works. and uses it.
Okay. I still don't really understand how he would survive the rigors of space travel.
Well, maybe it came with a manual.
With it, yeah, give him the manual. He could read the language. He could read. Then, okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, they have their weird little digital clock code language.
I think it's just humans projecting again.
Well, of course, yes, that's pretty much all of media.
Yeah. All right. Yes. All right. So I just like to be difficult. He's got quite good crocodile-y skin. All right. I'm a bit confused about what I'm doing with this sword now. Okay, I'm just going to do the hands right, and then I'll go from there. All right. Yeah, I don't know why. I had a good deal of moaning about Alien Romulus, and I was like, oh, I thought that was quite good. That one actually
From
did.
who?
Oh, I don't remember. The internet people.
Okay, but the internet always complains about everything.
Yeah.
Like the thing the internet complained about it isn't exactly like, oh, what really?
Well, I mean,
Like,
I don't. I mean, I don't go all over the internet. I mean, just friends of mine on the internet, I suppose, or people that I follow.
okay, so people you know in real life.
Yeah, I mean, or at least I know on the internet. But there seemed to be a lot of griping about it. So I was like, well, I didn't hear that till late after I saw it. But when I saw it, I thought, oh, it was quite good. It sort of actually did do quite a good job of sort of filling in some of the plot holes and making things tied up and that make a bit of sense. I think most of the complaining was that it was too woke, as usual. Sorry, I was
What?
following the wrong people. Not that I want to follow people that say things are too
How
woke.
is it even woke? What?
I don't know.
Like literally, whenever I see someone complaining that it's woke, it's usually just because it has a black or female character.
Yeah. Which like Alien always did, so like I didn't really get any of it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, look, there's this YouTuber that I started watching. His name is the Birdman, and he has this series called Exposing the Grift that is literally just all about like talking about how like prevalent a problem grifting is on the internet and how like he basically just dedicates his whole channel to breaking down every single reason like why someone is grifting and why it's stupid. And it's very like it makes you realize how stupid a lot of people are for just following and listening to that content.
The grifters enjoy grifting. They get up early in the morning and get on with their grifting.
I mean, well, yeah, it makes them lots of money because outrage equals views. Like, and they make all the upbeat. Like, the one thing that everybody has always been using is like, are these like grifter. Like the big one is this guy called the cynical drinker, the critical drinker.
Okay, yeah. Wait, I think.
And basically he just shits on every popular movie that comes out because it will give him views because being negative and creating outrage on the internet makes views. And he's always just
and being positive and doing something creative doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah. And then he's always just saying things that can like be easily disproven, or it's just like, that's just an opinion. So, but the big one that they always like to say is, the marketing budget is like, half, or I forget the stat, but they always claim that they basically try to say no movie, like modern movie, is profitable because marketing is like half of the budget of the movie. So if the movie doesn't make double what the budget does, then it's not profitable. But I'm like,
every movie is not profitable. Like that's the history of movies. Like, because a profitable movie, you then have to suddenly start paying all the people who got a percentage on the movie. So they always say like a movie never makes any profit.
That's so not true. There's so many movies that make profits.
It's an accounting trick.
There's so many movies that make profits. Yeah.
It has no, but it's going to, by the time it's actually making profit, it's making a phenomenal profit. It's never like they've got so many accounting tricks to make it seem like the movie doesn't make profit, so that they don't have to pay taxes on it. If once it's making profit, you have to pay taxes on it and pay it to other people. So you say, "Oh well, we spent all this much on marketing and blah blah blah." Well, actually, no, you were just flying out your executives to have nice dinners and stuff like that. But
Well, maybe, but the real thing is that that is an old stat, but that is from when movies were on average like, 20 to 80 million dollars budget. But now, there's like these movies with crazy CGI and huge big name actors, they're literally between like 100 to 300 million dollars profit. And there is just no evidence to support that the marketing scales with that budget increase. It's like marketing still costs the same as it did for when movies were like, or for a movie that is 20 to 80 million. Like, for example, Get Out. That was a movie that had a budget of like $50 million or something, and it like made like 600 million at the box office. There's no reason why the marketing for Get Out would be less or more expensive than the marketing for like some other big movie, because I mean, unless they want to, but you're gonna see the same advertisements for both of these movies. And then another thing that people never talk about.
But it's the advertisements. But then, like, how many ad times do you run the ad? Yeah, the ad costs X amount to make it, but the real expense is like running the ad everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's no evidence to support that like advertising and marketing costs scale with how expensive your movie is. And
no, but yeah, yes, but they'll spend so much on the budget, and if it's succeeding and people are going to see it, but the real reason people are going to see it is because they heard from other people that it was good.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, word of mouth is usually how movies do very well.
Everything's so short term in that world. That's what I always find so confusing. It's like, okay,
but then another thing that people never talk about.
The interesting thing is, are people still watching it 20 years later? Then maybe that's a good movie.
Yeah. But yeah, the other thing that people never talk about when it comes to like budgets and stuff like that is like a lot of these movies that have gigantic budgets are made by these like multimedia conglomerates like Disney or Universal or whatever, and they're going to be selling toys and all this other merch that is going to be generating money off of like there's just so many factors that these grifters do not take into account when saying a movie failed or it did terribly. And all it does is serve. Oh wait, did I lose you? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What happened? You're back now.
Oh, no, I think you disconnected.
Oh, I did.
It removed you from the stream.
Oh, okay. Well, here I am again. I don't know. You went quiet. Yeah, you were ranting about the grifters.
I was.
Goddamn grifters. All right, Elle Fanning, sister of Dakota Fanning. What movie? Like, Dakota Fanning was famous first. What was she in? I can't remember. She was in some Spielberg-y movie. Was it that War of the Worlds thing that he did? I can't remember. Ooh. Wait, are you gone again? Am I gone?
I'm here.
Okay. Why is the
I don't know.
Wait, let's go back to this layout. So focus on the art.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately do not know much about
the Fanning sisters.
Elle
they
Fanning.
did the voices in My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, okay.
which is one of the greatest films of all time, really. Can't beat My Neighbor Totoro. And that's what I find very strange is that for some reason that movie was not available in England back in the day. It is now. They have them all on Netflix there now, which I was happy to see. But I was just very annoyed when I discovered those movies. Why did they not have them in England? We weren't allowed to see them for some reason. They were too Japanese or something. I guess people still were angry with the Japanese after the war. Oh, and right now on Netflix they've got Grave of the Fireflies, which I seriously recommend everybody watch. That's not a Miyazaki. I'm not even sure if it's Studio Ghibli, but that is also one of the greatest animes about the nuclear bomb, the aftermath of the bomb. It's the stories of two brothers in the aftermath of the bomb in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I can't remember where they are. But absolutely brilliant movie. Which everybody should see. There should be compulsory viewing. Well, it's a bit devastating for little kids, so you probably will push up to them. Alrighty. Now, yeah, I mean, budgets and TV shows. I mean, okay, look at Doctor Who. Which you should look at Doctor Who. Everyone should look at Doctor Who. But, it's... Okay, now look, he has sort of beads on his helmet that aren't part of his hair. That's something I find a bit confusing all the time. Because there should be some beady things going on here, but... I don't know. I think those are part of his helmet, but I'm not sure. Because his hair's sort of more like kind of wormy things. I'm just going to put a few in here just for good measure, just in case they're supposed to be part of his hair. But Doctor Who, I'm
pretty sure the beads are on his hair.
No, because his hair. See how his hair's going off. It's this sort of long ropey thing, and then when I look at where it's just his hair, he doesn't have any beads. So, I don't know, but yeah, all right. Yeah, they sort of look like his hair, but I think they're canonically part of his helmet. But like Doctor Who has like zero budget, and then Disney got hold of it. Disney are not doing any more Doctor Who now. They've said it was too. I guess they're pivoting. They were like, "Oh, Doctor Who," and they went super woke with Doctor Who. I'm not sure how much it was their fault or this guy who's been running it, Russell T Davies, who I don't know. People seem to love Russell T Davies over at the BBC, and I don't know. He is responsible for good Doctor Who, but personally, I'm not that fond of him. But all right, he went a bit too woke for Disney or something. And now Disney Trump.
I mean, I think he went too woke for the. I think he went too woke for the audience. Like, I don't see Doctor Who viewers as like ultra woke. Like, they're woke, sure, but I don't think, they still want to watch a guy going around basically saving the universe every single episode.
Look, I don't know. It was fine, Doctor Who. I didn't have any problem with it as Doctor Who. But I'm just saying, my main point is the enormous budget didn't make it any better than just regular Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Doesn't particularly help Doctor Who to have an enormous budget. In fact, a low budget helps it because it forces you to sort of be kind of creative and write a good story. Because fortunately, writers are like the cheapest part of your budget. Pay the writers and not the bloody marketing executives. I guess that's my motto. But then nobody sees it. That's the trouble. Yeah, so you've got to get it out on all the platforms. So I don't know. It's all very complicated. Or good editing, like in Star Wars, you need to get Marsha Lucas to come and cut it down to a tight runtime. That's the secret, apparently. Um, all right, and like somehow he also managed to like get samurai armor, and I don't know. All right,
Wait,
I mean
what?
his armor's quite samurai-like. I'm not drawing that big just yet, but like down here, it's all very samurai-ish. So, did he get that because he went and killed some samurai?
I mean, just looks like layered leather. I wouldn't say that's samurai.
It's leather. He's wearing leather armor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Covering yourself in full metal armor, that's not the way of the predator.
okay, I guess not. Yeah. All right. I guess that's somewhat like you have to make that make sense. Yeah? I mean, a lot of this stuff is making it all make sense, but then it gets a bit annoying when the comics start. Then things are happening in the movies that were only ever covered in the comics, like with the Emperor coming back. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
no, actually, they apparently I was sort of reading some old Star Wars comics. I'm like, oh, okay, no, they did do a whole bit with Luke where the Emperor sort of had come back, in the expanded universe, which Disney specifically said, oh, we're not doing anything from the expanded universe. And look, George Lucas always said, do sequels because I'm not going to do any sequels. So they did a lot of stuff in those things. But I guess now it's all there. Timothy Zahn was at the Comic Con. Where were we at? Down in San Jose, signing books, and he seemed to have a good long line all day. But they were making up all this crap. But yeah, apparently the Emperor did come back in that and do some stuff, which like then they sort of seemed to like, okay, we were supposed to know that when we saw these new Star Wars movies, which I don't think, like as popular as Timothy Zahn was, I don't think that many people read those books. I mean, people don't read that many books, first of all, let alone, and the literary people aren't going, oh, I'm going to run out and read some Star Wars books. I mean, I read one of them. I thought, oh, that's kind of crap. I'm not really going to bother reading the others, but all right. Much as I love Star Wars, no one loved Star Wars more than me. I'm telling you. Well, I guess perhaps some people did, but I think they could have done a lot better with those. That's all I'm saying. All right, a lot of that stuff's going to be hidden in shadow. All right. All right. Okay. I feel the color a bit short here. Star Wars people are always like, we want more Star Wars, and then they get it and they go, we hate it. They're like, well, we're trying to give you as much Star Wars as we can. No, give us less. We don't want that. Now they're saying you need to stop doing TV shows after Andor. Like you did a good one with Andor, so now stop making Star Wars TV shows while you're ahead. I mean, it was always quite hard to get hold of Star Wars. Like George Lucas did quite a good job. Like he would wait, like in VHS format, he didn't really release it onto VHS until DVDs were just about to start, and then he didn't really release it on DVDs till streaming was about to start. So I always thought that was kind of an interesting strategy, but it seemed to work. All right, she's got a big gun. 2000 AD, they'd have this character Mechquake, who was like a giant robot, giant mech, and he was like, he had traction wheels and all this sort of stuff, like a tank sort of thing. But he was pretty vast, and his catchphrase would be "big jobs, big jobs, big jobs." He was a bit stupid. Big and stupid, and quite mean, very mean spirited. He was very mean spirited. Quite popular. Yeah, they had these guys, the ABC Warriors, who In the Sylvester Stallone movie, they had Hammerstein, who was like one of the ABC warriors. It wasn't quite clear if it was actually Hammerstein, but okay, in the comics they sort of did go back and retcon it and say no, it actually was Hammerstein, because Hammerstein was one of a group of robots that they were originally the atomic bacterial chemical robots, and they were sort of designed to help settle Mars in the first place. But then they were used in like all these sort of robot wars and stuff. And Hammerstein was like a warrior. I don't know. Maybe he was already. I think Hammerstein was already kind of like the old warrior. He'd been previously an old warrior, and now he became one of the ABC warriors. He was like the last of them. I think in the Judge Dredd movie, they sort of said, yeah, no, the robot wars had all happened kind of before. Oh, but they're different kind of robot wars. There's a robot war where the robots were sort of more automatons. That was before. And then there was the robot uprising led by Call Me Kenneth. It was one of Judge Dredd's first sort of big stories that he had to deal with. Like a more epic storyline. But the robots did sort of win their freedom after that. Some of them did, I don't know. Certainly. Dredd's own personal robot, Walter the Robot, who still pops up from time to time, although now he's a free robot who lives with Mrs. Gunderson. Mrs. Gunderson's quite blind. She's blind and deaf. She had like Judge Death was living with her for a while. Yeah. At some point, they stopped doing some of those more silly stories, but then they started doing them more again. Okay, yeah, here's all her pipes. So she looks like Ian Holm, a.k.a. Bilbo Baggins, as he became known later on. But he was the first synthetic robot in the first Alien. Okay, something went wrong somewhere, but all right, it'll do. It'll do.
Looks pretty good. What do you think went wrong?
Something here, I don't know, but it's because I sort of changed the head. And again, these are all things that if I did spend a bit more time drawing it properly, it would work out better. But all right, never mind. All right, there's some ferns here. He's in the jungle. Now, what did you think about? We watched. I made you watch Genesis of the Daleks.
Yeah, I thought that was very good.
You enjoyed Genesis of the Daleks. That's good. All right, there's hope for you yet then. All right, I don't know what that was definitely considered like that always is top of the list of like what's the best Doctor Who ever. I don't know. I mean, I think some of the modern series have done some better ones, but I don't know. But it's got all the elements that you want in a good Doctor Who. It's got Daleks who are always funny. I don't know. The Daleks weren't quite as funny in that one. They got a little more serious in that. Up to that point, the Daleks have always been a little more funny, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get a little serious. Davros comes in. Davros is kind of funny though. My favorite is when he sort of wants to get all nice with the doctor. Let's talk together as two scientists. And yes, and would you, if you had a little vial that would kill everything everywhere, would you use it? Oh, what an interesting question.
Yes, I would.
Yes, I don't remember. Yeah, okay, so you were asking about the origins of Davros. Okay, so they did it in Peter Capaldi. So Peter Capaldi, he rescues a boy in a war zone who's standing on a landmine. All right, so they brought the landmine thing back, which has come back a few times in Doctor Who landmines. Nookti was on a landmine at one point. But Doctor Who rescues a boy on a landmine, and that boy turns out to be Davros.
Oh my god.
But yes, I guess in the end, Doctor, he didn't want to kill the Daleks when he had the chance, really, like there. And I guess, well, then he sort of sends them later to do it, but yeah, I don't know. He doesn't really like want to commit genocide. Yeah, I think actually in a lot of ways, Peter Capaldi is one of the best Doctors because he really like the new Doctor Who's. They hadn't quite decided if the old Doctor Who really happened or not. But by Peter Capaldi era, they definitely had decided they'd sort of done this Day of the Doctor thing with Matt Smith and David Tennant. And so they sort of fully unified the old and the new, and they covered the Time War. There was this thing that had happened in between called the Time War.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sort of unified all that by the end of that era. And then Peter Capaldi is definitely all about like mining the old lore and mixing it up with the new lore. And so, yeah, he really sort of brings it all together. And he was a big sort of Doctor Who fan who sort of understood like all the nature of Doctor Who and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in Peter Capaldi era. But he's a bit unsung. People did like David Tennant a lot. I guess if you're new to Doctor Who, maybe David Tennant. But I don't know. A lot of people really like that new. I didn't really love the first new season. I'm not a big fan of Rose Tyler like everybody else. I don't know. Call me mean-spirited. Call me anti-woke. I thought it was a little too basic. It's better when it's getting a little deeper. I don't know, Nocti, I'd have to watch those again. I didn't mind them. I thought there were some pretty good episodes in there. But yeah, the budget was a bit distracting in a way. Like, you're like, oh, they're spending all this money on it. There must be something really important happening. But then it wasn't really. And you're like, okay. It was just sort of kind of ordinary Doctor Who. And then, I don't know, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't know. You have to give it a bit of time as well, I always say. You can't really tell till 30 years later if it was actually any good.
That's
and there aren't that many shows from that. How many shows do people actually want to watch 30 years later? I mean, that's why the BBC sort of wiped them at the beginning. I mean, everything was very ephemeral back in the early days of television. Like, didn't really have much idea of recording things. And they were like, oh, videotape's expensive. We need to recycle this stuff. Now they're desperately hunting all over because they would send copies out to other countries. So occasionally one will turn up, in Africa somewhere. Like, oh, we found one of the lost episodes. But I actually kind of like the animated ones that they do. Well, there's a lot of debate about those. I mean, they're kind of basic animation. But I think some of them are quite good. But again, I always seem to disagree with what everybody else is saying on these things. You're like, oh, that one was terrible, and this one was great. I'm like, I don't know, the other way around. I don't know why I always have to be flying in the face of popular opinion. All right, I'm moving on to the brushes now. Oh, hang on a minute here. Normally I start with a big brush, but I think I'm sort of doing the detail on the face. All right, what other big movies are coming out? I like the recent Jurassic Park movie. Now you poo-pooed that when I suggested it, and said that it hadn't got a good reviews or whatever.
I mean,
looking at the internet,
I don't know. Should I give it a try? I mean, really? You're telling me that was worth the watch?
I thought it was great, considering that you loved Jurassic Park 3 as a kid. It was just a more basic sort of dinosaur movie. It wasn't trying to do anything particularly ridiculous or epic. It was just a good dinosaur movie. That was my opinion of it. Anyway, I think I would say go see it. I can't remember much about it now, though, so I'll have to see it again. All right. Okay, look, it's very hard for me to talk and draw. Sometimes I've got to think hard. All right. Well, nobody's tuning in. It must be because we don't have Dale here.
He's our draw.
Not that anybody tunes in when he's here either. But I forgot what he said he's doing. I only reminded him last night. It was a bit late. I don't know. I don't know how much. I mean, I get a drawing done. It gets me out of bed on a Saturday morning and gets me drawing. Well, we had a good meet-up with Goodman Games last night. That was good. Oh, I love those guys. Oh my god, they're so brilliant. They're all such great artists. It's like playing in the all-star rock band or something. Yeah, I mean, all of them are doing amazing work, and I'm just happy to be there. But yeah, there's some exciting projects coming up with Goodman Games. They're doing City State of the Invincible Overlord, but that ran into a little bit of controversy.
Oh,
Did I talk about this before? Like the guy. Okay, so it was created by this guy called Bob Bledsoe, and it was like the first sort of giant sort of city map back when TSR weren't really even making modules. They were like, why would anyone want to do that? You know, you can make it yourself. And they did this sort of great sort of city module under their company Judges Guild. It was quite popular, but and Goodman Games had done some things with Judges Guild and had some licenses to do some stuff with Judges Guild. But then, unfortunately, Bob Bledsoe passed away some time ago. Now his son. So this is a good father-son industry story. The son became quite, let's say, anti-woke. And he went on a rant about how, well, I don't know. He went on about everybody and everything. I think he got really drunk one day on the internet. Started ranting on about everybody from the gays to the Jews and everybody in between.
Ooh, I'm gonna go finish your story, but I'm gonna recommend a video to anybody watching after you finish.
No, interrupt now. Yeah, sure. I don't mind.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, go on because I need to find the name of the video.
Yeah. All right. Well, so he went on this big rant, which of course made him exceedingly unpopular in the gaming community, and Goodman Games was like, well, they'd done some things, but the thing is, they had the license for this City State of the Invincible Overlord. And Joe Goodman really wanted to do it because it's like such a sort of fundamental thing, and do a great job of it. But I guess he wasn't very careful with the announcement. He just sort of suddenly announced it, and then obviously then there was a massive backlash to it. So it was like the biggest sort of backlash I thought that he's really had to face. But I felt like he would probably handle it all right, and he did. And he came on and he did quite a good video. So if anybody didn't see the sort of video that he released, sort of explaining like why he was going to do it and how he was going to make people whole. There was also some people from an unfulfilled Kickstarter that they'd done for an earlier version of City State of the Invincible Overlord. So he sort of came on and did a long video and also sort of explained like his own woke credentials, let's say, but which he certainly has, and and I think he more or less got out of it. But yeah, he was really hoping it was going to be like a much bigger thing. But I think now he's putting all the women on working on it to keep it as woke as possible. Sorry, not to go on about anti-woke. I'm very pro woke, just in case that's sort of not coming across clearly. But I mean, yeah, he's going to do a good job, and it will be a very nice product. But yeah, it was a bit of a problem. But actually, okay, yeah. So I think you can safely support the Goodman Game City States of the Invincible Overlord. Uh, I promise you, it will not be. You will not be funding Nazis. But I think a lot of people are still quite upset about that. And so he's sort of negotiating way through that. Meanwhile, he's licensed some pinball games, which is quite. He's going to do a thing called Pinball Crawl Classics, which I might work on. But that's quite cool. Yeah, he's got the license to 5 famous pinball games from like the 1970s or whatever. And they're going to be so there's going to be a sort of book of adventures based on that. That's the new Kickstarter that he's going to be doing. And he's doing a thing called Old School Adventures, which is for 5e. So these are like modules for 5e adventures that also will be quite good.
Ooh.
Yeah, William McCann.
Speaking of tabletop, okay, first of all, I'm going to plug this video I saw that I think you and other people who view this channel might benefit from. So I'll copy this link. I'll paste it here.
Depends a bit how good my drawing comes out. If I do a good drawing, that people usually want to look at it. Yeah, quite good so far.
All right, there we go. I think it worked. So that is a video called Gaming Has an Insecure Men Problem. And it kind of talks about issues like maybe Mr. Goodman Games' son is having.
Bob Bledsoe Jr. It's nothing to do with Goodman Games at all, yeah, but it's to do with this guy Bob Bledsoe.
Bob Bledsoe Jr. Okay, Bob Bledsoe. Whatever. This video probably talks about issues that Mr. Bob Bledsoe Jr. is facing. And it basically sort of talks about how a lot of men in like my generation and maybe slightly older, we grew up in this era of media that was like these hyper masculine like heroes just like going around and fucking shit up and being kind of a womanizer, and that was like sold to us as like cool and epic. Yes. And I'm gonna say it still pretty much is cool, at least to me. But he made this really good analogy in the video of what's the term? It's a wrestling term.
I don't know much about wrestling.
Or believing the fact.
The person I really knew who
the kayfabe. Okay. The kayfabe.
Oh, yeah, okay, kayfabe. Yeah. All right. So there's cartoonist kayfabe. That was the guy who. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, he killed himself because of that was the whole story.
Okay. Well, that's very sad, but let's stay on topic. So anyway, kayfabe wrestling basically means to believe in and sort of immerse yourself in this situation where it's like, yes, I'm kind of aware that this is quote unquote fake, but also like I'm choosing to believe in it. Like that's basically what the kayfabe is. And he actually compared that to D&D a lot, where it's like, we're all kind of just sitting around in our room speaking in funny voices and, pretending to kill monsters, but that's not actually happening. But, we're taking part in the kayfabe by, we're all collectively kind of believing this is actually happening, right, or at least within the story.
Right. Well, we used to call that the willing suspension of disbelief, but all right.
Well, that's not wrong.
That's a bit of a bad.
Yeah, kayfabe is basically a shortened version of that.
The willing suspension of disbelief, yes. Right.
But anyway, he made this really good analogy where it's basically a lot of these dudes are stuck in the kayfabe of thinking this like hyper masculine man that goes around being a womanizer is like a real thing that you should strive to be. rather than just a fun fantasy to kind of take part in for 2 hours during a movie.
Yeah,
And
I don't
they're
think.
very
Yeah,
upset that that is not the reality.
no, I agree. And there's nobody more responsible for that probably than James Bond.
Yeah,
Certainly in
definitely
the,
for like your generation, I think that's
yeah,
probably what it is.
my dad's generation. I mean, we all grew up with sort of James Bond movies sort of on the TV and stuff. So we've used it. But I mean, he's spanned quite a few generations now, James Bond. And I mean, Daniel Craig was he was way less of a womanizer than previously. Every previous James Bond had been quite a big womanizer. I mean, certainly
Yeah.
Roger Moore.
Yeah. So anyway, the video kind of just talks about how it's like, you know, there's this, they basically are a tabletop channel, but they have kind of been dabbling in like anti-woke content. And they had this their most popular video that they released is not even about tabletop. It's this video called "Why God of War," the new God of War series, is only for like woke feminists and midwits. um, yeah, and if you don't know what a midwit is, it's someone who's not fully a nitwit, but someone of middling intelligence who pretends like they're very smart.
They're not smart enough to know how unsmart they are. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely. I count myself as a midwit.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people are midwits. If you're really gonna break it down.
At least, but I've realized when people are smarter than me.
Yeah. So, and it's basically saying like it's the perfect kind of showing off of this issue where they're like the old God of War, where you go around and like mindlessly kill things and can like press X to sleep with a woman and a random woman in a bed with like no emotional connection or thought whatsoever. It's like that's what we want. And this new God of War where like talking about like the struggles of being a father and how to like not pass on generational trauma and like all these like very complex and like real emotional ideas being portrayed in like this very masterfully cinematically created game, and they're saying that is the problem. And it's like I really agreed with pretty much everything this guy was saying, where it's like the fact that you're like saying that this piece of media that is so much closer to reality than this other piece of media that was like it's a reboot of is like it's an issue. It is an issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, yes, people like James Bond. I mean, I'll stick with that because I think that's like a sort of generalized trope. But it's the sort of fantasy of being able to do those things. I mean, yeah, James Bond, he's sort of quite a psychopath. I think everybody sort of always understood that. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, so I guess yeah, you're right. Midwits don't realize. And they think they're supposed to be like that. I think it's true. I mean, yes. So media has a sort of responsibility, somewhat educated. The bad guy gets punished, which nowadays it's like, oh, is anybody really bad? I don't know. I mean, it's a sort of fantasy. I mean, D&D is fantasy role playing. I mean, and James Bond was like they had a James Bond game was out fairly early on in role playing. I mean, it's like one of those things. You're like medieval fantasy. You got a sword. You go around and you sort of rule by the sword. You can't do that in real life. That's the whole point. It's like you can't. It's not supposed to be real life.
Yeah.
I mean, there are fun real life games that are different, but
yeah. And it was also like if they approached the criticism with maybe the way of like we want to have we recognize that this is not a real like lifestyle that is like for real people to live, but we also want to have media that we can like immerse ourselves in this fantasy for however, like sure, if they framed it like that, but they're literally framing it as like this piece of media is what is wrong with society and culture today, and it's like they're too deep in the kayfabe of thinking that that is all a realistic thing. So yeah, I just recommend that video. Okay. And it is also like it's made by this guy who does other cool tabletop stuff. Oh yeah, and then there's this other segment of the video where they were like, basically he was going over how like the guys who made this video on the new God of War games, they also make some tabletop content, and he was talking about how a couple years ago when Hasbro was trying to like take away the open game license, this lady
they flirted with the idea. Yeah,
they didn't do it. Well, they only didn't do it because of how much insane backlash happened as soon as they announced that they were thinking about doing it.
Well, there was more than that. I mean, because Goodman Games, actually, a lot of their business is making use of that open game license. And, there was a big conference with all these people like Goodman Games and all these other developers, who also put their cases forward to it. So there was quite a lot to it. I think they just were flirting with the idea, I would say. I mean, yeah, and then obviously there was a lot of pushback from all fronts. So they were like, no.
Yeah. But anyway, just while that was in the works, this lady made this system called Shadow Dark, which is like a very similar system to 5e, but like simplified and different in some ways. And people still use it to this day to like make certain things. And these guys who made this video, they made some like Shadow Dark compatible thing. And it was pretty silly because the whole they're basically, the idea for their addition was, we're gonna make a in-game brothel system. I was like, okay, well, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But the person who made Shadow Dark is like this, openly gay lesbian woman. And they did this interview with her, and there's this one moment where one of the guys from this channel says, "Oh, when you allowed us, or when we sort of were talking, and you said, you were like, basically gave our thing your blessing, and was like, this is cool, and she wanted to do an interview with them." He said that was his white pill moment, and she didn't know what that meant. And the other guy kind of looked a little bit like disturbed that he just said that, and tried to like move past that quickly.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't know if you know what white pill means. I didn't even know what it means until
the red pill and the blue pill in Matrix.
Yes. So the guy, I didn't know what it was either. The guy in the video had to explain it. But basically, the white pill is like when something happens to you and that makes you like basically become less red pilled, or like even there's also black pilled, where it's just like, oh, you're just a doomer and you think everything in the world sucks. But he's basically saying the fact that this openly gay lesbian woman gave him the blessing to have an in-game brothel system was his moment of realizing that the world actually isn't so bad. Okay. And it's just like, okay, really, you're just gonna say that out loud? Like, that's so. And it kind of, he was basically using that to reveal, like, these guys will go online and talk about how woke politics is so bad, but they'll still happily work with like openly gay lesbian women because it benefits them. And then they'll try and like hide the fact of how red pill they are. And it's just, it was very like showing how there's like a cognitive dissonance between this like woke white, like anti-woke right-wing grifting stuff and like any type of reality.
Wait, okay. I'm confused. You lost me a bit there.
Well, it's just like they're going online and talking about how, woke is destroying the world, feminism sucks, this new God of War game that is focusing on like emotional depth and all this stuff is actually bad. But, when it comes to a real life woke situation, when it comes to working with an openly gay lesbian woman, they're happy enough to do that. And, because it supports them and what they want.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like, well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, in reality, I mean, I think like role-playing games teach you a lot about reality in that you're allowed to sort of explore different things. And I mean, I think there's also sort of evidence that the rise of video games has come with a sort of decrease in real world violence a lot of the times. Now, I mean, it's a sort of trade off, but there's a lot of educational aspects to be able to sort of put yourself in somebody else's body and explore things. I mean, I think video games was always like, when the world was much more oppressive to sort of homosexuality and stuff like that, you could come on, you could play a gay character, you could play a female character, so that's why a lot of people who are sort of gay or trans are attracted to role playing games, because it was a sort of situation where you could sort of explore those feelings in a sort of safe way, or hopefully relatively safe way. But also likewise, you want to explore like, oh, I'm going around hatefully killing everybody. I mean, as a corporation, they've always sort of tried to downplay that quite a lot. But that's sort of part of it. And at one point they did quite embrace it, and they had the things like the Book of Vile Darkness and all that sort of stuff, which everybody agreed that was pretty horrible thing. But
they also had Dark Sun.
I mean, I'd be interested in sort of seeing how it went with the campaign. My players are always fortunately quite good, and I tend to reward the good players. But if they were all very determined to play like evil characters, I'd be sort of interesting, because then as the DM, I'd be sort of playing all the good characters. And so the DM, I mean, I'm always playing all the evil characters or whatever, so I don't mind. I mean, I kind of enjoy that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because in my D&D session I'm going to be doing today, the kids have all kind of decided they want to be like, evil, maybe not evil, but like chaotic rogues that go around, causing mischief and crime.
Yeah, mostly chaotic neutral, and
yeah,
their own device. I don't know. I read a good article about how, I think it was YouTube video. This guy who does some quite serious, in-depth videos on old school D&D. But he was like how alignment really sort of saved the game, because basically without that, everybody sort of becomes chaotic neutral and does whatever the hell they want all the time. So alignment is a sort of, I think it's sort of deprioritized, but I think it's kind of an interesting thing. And used to get quite heavily penalized if your character went out of alignment. And I think certainly for sort of clerics and stuff. I mean, so I certainly use alignment in my game, even though it's not generally a big part of it. But I mean, I think you have to. They're going to do that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure the current system has a lot of ways to penalize out of alignment actions, but you can still do it as a DM. Like
I think you usually use it like as a DM. You use it for like story things, and I think you would usually say like, if a character is going to do something outside of their alignment, you'd be like this. You tell them this is out of your character's alignment, and if you continue to do actions like this, it might change your alignment, which is
I think there's ways to punish them in the game, like the characters, the forces of law come down on them, So
usually the way
creatures that can get against them if they go around being
I mean I like to play with like paladins and warlocks the most when it comes to stuff like that, because they have like some other entity that is like giving them power, and if they don't act within whatever that entity's interested in, then things will happen. So I feel like that is where alignment matters kind of the most, because like if you're not acting within your warlock patron's interests or alignment, then they might weaken you or do something bad. Or if you're a paladin and you're not acting, or paladin or cleric really, and you're not acting in your deity's interest, then something bad could happen. All right, this looks like it's coming out good. The shading is bringing it together.
Yes. I mean, in our campaign that you're doing by now, you could have kept that evil crown that you got and become some sort of evil demi-lich. Or become some sort of evil demi-lich guy coming around, and you could be leading a whole army of horrible people at this point. It could be you're leading an army of people onto this Grey Hawk at the end. I don't know.
If you wanted. I feel like that would be quite a nightmare to run as a DM. I would be scared.
Well, it
Like you got to
definitely all
figure
gets.
out the entire like. All right, like Greyhawk's got to have a pretty massive force if it knows that there's a like it's basically the biggest city in that whole setting,
Yeah.
and I assume that means they also have the biggest, defense military. So that would be a lot to manage. I think the DM figuring out what kind of forces the Greyhawk can use to defend itself.
Yeah. Definitely. But it's all there. But yeah, I mean, it all gets very high level and complicated at some point, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah,
But there's only so much you can do in any one session, I suppose. So,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's sort of, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's been sort of quite a lot of situations with armies and stuff in this module already. So, there's sort of ways
Yeah,
to
but that's
get
with
you.
like, mercenaries or just like little town militias. Like this is Greyhawk. Like they're gonna have like probably mythical beasts that they ride on and a bunch of wizards and you
Yeah,
know.
but then that all sort of happens. That stuff all sort of happens off screen, and then it comes down to like, well, what are the actual players doing? So,
Well, yeah. That I remember how like the large scale combat works, but it's still like I just imagine it would be a lot to manage as a DM, and you'd have to do a lot of prep.
well, I don't know. They at one point they had the sort of there's the D&D battle system that was very sort of centered around the Greyhawk Wars and stuff like that, and so that there is actually some rules for mass combats and armies and all this sort of stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, we were using the Unearthed Arcana rules for mass combat. I think that was pretty good. I like the way it sort of has like different time scales for like hero or like player actions and then like army group actions that so it kind of allows for the players to still feel like they're individually impressive among a giant battle.
yeah, yeah. Well, we did that one where you were attacking high folk, where we sort of got into some of that
Yeah,
as well. Although in the
I
end,
like I like that how it's like you can be like as a player you can be like okay I'm gonna sort of add myself to this group of other individuals and like make the collective stronger, or I can like choose to take my own turn and do some like big area of effect spell or something.
yeah, yeah, like breaking it into units and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Well, I guess the main thing is her arm was up more forward, but I brought it down to fit in the picture. That's why I got confused. Ooh! Oh, great. My light fell down. That's because I moved it and then it didn't stick it properly. Okay. Uh, Fall down again in a minute. It's still not very well stuck. All right. How are we doing for time? Not too bad. All right. Well, see, right about now, it would be good for Dale to do his retail roundup. Wait, did I lose you? Did I get cut off?
Now I'm here.
Okay. Telling us some story about opals. I don't know. His most interesting story about opals is that he saw one that looked like the Milky Way galaxy. which is all right. Sounds like it was quite a good opal, but. What's going on here? Okay. Dee-da. Try a minute. I was going to bleed. I'll go somewhere else. Yes. Now, when your watercolors are wet, they bleed into one another in a nice, pleasing way. But then sometimes you want a hard line, so then you have to wait for them to dry. That's really the trick. And then you have to be sort of fairly quick. Although I know these ones are sort of quite blendable in that if they've dried, you can sort of work into them a bit. Which I like about them. And the thing about natural media is that they give you more of a sort of pleasing effect on their own without sort of doing so much. I mean, digital, like, they have to work quite hard to recreate those effects, and then then you start running up against your processing power to do things that would be quite simple. I guess it's just finding the right tool for the job a lot of the times. The effect that you want to achieve. All right. And then I get confused. Okay, so in Aliens, Prometheus, or whatever, they had Guy Pearce, like aged up makeup to be like old Mr. Wayland. But then they never they never had young Guy Pearce. So why did they have to have? Why did he have to be old Guy Pearce?
They showed a young Wayland.
Did they? But was it still Guy Pearce? When did they do that?
I'm pretty sure that was in the same movie.
Was it? I don't recall that.
There was definitely at least a scene with Guy Pearce as young Mr. Wayland.
Okay. What was he in recently? I just remembered something else. I can't remember.
I think he played an Iron Man villain at one point.
Did he?
I think he was the Iron Man 3 villain.
Was he?
Yep.
No, more recently than that, I saw him in something.
All right. Well, let's look at his filmography. Movie or TV show?
He was in what was it? Something I saw. We all knew him in England as character on Neighbours. He was like a sort of cool guy with a motorbike.
He was in the Brutalist.
No, I didn't see that. Okay, he was in that, was he?
He was in a movie called Inside in 2024.
No. What's that one?
I don't know. It doesn't look very good. He was. Looks like he's been in some stinkers recently.
Like which ones?
The Convert.
No.
Inside.
No.
2023, 2024.
I feel more.
Bloodshot with Vin Diesel.
Oh,
Zone 414. Yeah, he's really been in some stinkers.
Vin Diesel's a D&D player.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that at least. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if he helps or hurts the cause, really. All right. Well, what did I see him in then? What TV shows has he been in?
Let's see TV shows. I'm pretty sure you didn't watch Mayor of Easttown.
No.
Um, you said it was recent.
Yeah.
He is not.
Well, I watched
He was in a
it.
movie called a TV show called A Spy Among Friends.
No.
Yeah, he hasn't really been in any TV shows
I don't
other
know.
than those recently.
Definitely saw him in something quite recent.
Are you sure it wasn't something? Is it The Infernal Machine?
It was like a sort of all-star cast thing.
Yeah, he's definitely not been any all-star cast movies other than The Brutalist.
All right. Well, I don't know what it was.
Are you sure it wasn't an older movie that you just saw recently?
Maybe.
You have any idea what it was about?
It's not coming back to me. Maybe I dreamed it. I've been having weird dreams lately.
Oh wait, he was in one called The Shrouds.
No.
He's in one called Disturbing the Peace.
No.
He's in one called Without Remorse with Michael B. Jordan.
No. It's been a lot of things I haven't seen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, none of them. Well, it was like a bunch of people in it. He was in it. Okay. It's all just a vague blur at this point. I'm getting old. What else have we got going on here? All right. Are you going over to Mill Valley today?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I'm having a meeting. Having a meeting on phase 2 of Wanda. Next, when is that? Is that next week already? No, I think it's the week after. Oh, next Sunday I'm doing this workshop at Sour Cherry Comics, which I have no idea really what I'm doing there. She said it's better if you do it as a workshop, so I'm like, okay, but I don't know. I just made some stuff up. I haven't really got a clue what I'm going to do. I'm supposed to provide supplies and materials. I don't think I have them. All right, so far so good. Go back to Predator face a bit. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting tired.
Well, we're near the end. 10 minutes left. You're doing good.
All right, yeah, I was getting up. Yeah, wait, after 2 hours, you'd like need to take a break. It's like, oh my god. Right, step back a moment. Some of these hairstylings. Well, James Cameron's Aliens still one of the best nights of going to the movies that I remember. That was very enjoyable. Back in the old Basingstoke ABC. Antibacterial chemical. No, I don't think that's what it stood for. Atomic bacterial chemical. That was the ABC Warriors. Portable nukes. That was something they would have in Judge Dredd. He would have portable nuclear weapons. Fire off. Oh, well, I don't know what's happening with Judge Dredd lately. I heard that they were trying to pitch it around with Taika Waititi attached, but I don't know. What else is going on?
I don't think that sounds like a good idea.
No, no, yeah, that was the internet's opinion. I think that was a great idea.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like he always leans to like he's good for like action comedy stuff.
Yeah, there should be an action comedy if you're doing it right. Yeah.
You think Judge Dredd should have comedy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got loads of comedy.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically a parody. I mean, it's comedy, but it's true. That's. I mean, yeah. It's sort of ridiculous idea that the judges are deciding everything. Yeah, there's loads of humor in it, and the citizens are so ridiculous. There's all these ridiculous things in it, but it's also quite brutal. I mean, yeah, I think things like Thor or Fallout. That's also Fallout is the most Judge Dreddy. Whoever did Fallout should do it. but they probably wouldn't want to because they just did it at Fallout. But
Well, they're also working on a new Fallout now.
things I think Judge Dredd also needs to be like a TV show more, because it is like, it's like a police show. I mean, that's the thing. You can do any sort of cop story. You can pretty much do any story you want in Judge Dredd, because you can do like police procedurals, like a detective story, or a sort of war story or a space story. All these stories can happen in it. Not a lot of romance, more like crime fiction, but serial killers. Oh, in the comics, Judge Dredd killed PJ Maybe, but I don't know if he's really dead. Because there was some sort of voice that was talking to PJ Maybe that seemed like there's something about it. I think that PJ Maybe's coming back. I don't think it was that easy.
Who's PJ Maybe?
He was okay. It started off as a secret diary of PJ Maybe, age 13 3/4. And he was basically a young serial killer. He had some rich relatives that were sort of lording it over his family, so he decided to kill them all, which he did. I can't remember. I think Judge Dredd sort of caught him at that point, but then he was always quite good at escaping, and then he uses like face changer a lot to change his identity. But at one point, like my favorite bit, I've talked about this before, but like he became like Mega City 1 had this really popular mayor called Mayor Ambrose, who would be the best mayor that they ever had, and he was running the city really well. But it turned out it was PJ Maybe, which was great. That was such a brilliant reveal. It's like, oh no, Judge PJ Maybe's Mayor Ambrose. And he couldn't resist killing again, because somebody wrote a book like Whatever Happened to PJ Maybe, some psychiatrist, and sort of doing all this analysis of PJ Maybe. And he was like, oh, I had to go kill him. But he would always do his diary like as a sort of like childish handwriting. So the captions would all be like, with his E's backwards and everything. But as a sort of person, he was quite sort of well-spoken. And then he sort of, he transformed himself. At some point, he's escaped. He escaped down to Ciudad Rodriguez, or whatever they call it, like the sort of South American mega city, which is usually not on very good terms with Mega City 1. And he was sort of hiding out down there. And then he sort of got a face change. And then now he was like, and he basically came back to Mega City 1 as like a pool boy with this rich old lady. And he was living with this rich old lady in Mega City 1 for a while. This was after he'd been mayor. And he'd sort of been captured and escaped. And then the day of chaos came, and the dark judges were freed, and he managed to bottle the dark judges, which was great. And Judge Death later came and sort of freed them, and somehow PJ Maybe escaped, but it was almost like Judge Death didn't want to kill him, because Judge Death sort of recognized him as being working for the cause. And then later Judge Dredd sort of found him again, or like sort of started to realize that he'd been there. Like sometime later, it's quite it's very good, because they'll leave it for a while and then he'll come back again. Or Judge Dredd finally caught on. Like then he does manage to outwit Judge Dredd quite a lot. But then he revealed himself, because there was another serial killer going around who was like, he was the first serial killer. So he killed the new serial killer sort of killed 8 people and then moved on and killed another 8 people, and then took a totally different MO and killed another 8 people, then took on a totally different MO and killed another 8 people. And this sort of had annoyed PJ Maybe enough that he wrote Judge Dredd a letter about it to sort of help Judge Dredd try and solve that case. But then that put Judge Dredd back onto PJ Maybe again. And then Judge Dredd eventually tracked him down, and now he killed him in a bit like, it was a bit like in the Fugitive or whatever, where he sort of chased him down a pipe and then basically blew him up. But I don't know, I'm not sure it was the real PJ Maybe. I think there was something going on. Because there was this sort of voice in black lettering that was like talking to PJ Maybe all the time, and I'm like, that's never been in PJ Maybe before, so something was going on there that we didn't know about. Or maybe John Wagner was just getting old and he wanted to kill PJ Maybe off before he retired. I don't know. He's sort of, I don't know. He's still doing stories, but he's sort of retiring, I think. which is very sad, but some of the young writers are doing a good job. All right, just do a little bit of splashing about up here, I guess. A little, what he's doing is finding his way through some shit. I feel like I should get a toothbrush out and do some splatter, but I should have done that earlier. It's not a good idea doing splatter at the end. Do. Look, no hands. Well, I did a little tiny bit of pencil under drawing on this just because it was slightly complicated and I was trying to switch the face out. So, but not that much, and you can go back and see it all now. All right, but no D&D tomorrow. That's a bit sad. All right, so no D&D for month. I'm sorry to miss it. All right, but actually, okay, I haven't done my reading. I'm not quite sure what happens next now. I've got a vague idea, but
Well, now you've got time.
it's usually never what you guys all think it's going to be. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, should I just give them what they want? They seem to want a big kerfuffle.
Well, I trust you as the DM.
Well, I'm just going with what it says on the page, really. That way I don't feel too guilty if you all die. I'm like, well, it wasn't my fault. Okay. The Predator and the Pretty Girl. That's what they should have called it. All right, well, I think I'm quite pleased with that one, generally speaking. Good idea. That was your idea to do that. Good choice. Had a bit of everything. Monsters and pretty girls. That's what I like to draw.
Monster. He's my favorite monster.
Wait, what? I don't know that one.
It's from Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker show. Lots of good James Gunn songs in that.
Okay. Well, I should probably look at that at some point. Next time I have an HBO subscription. Wait, do you have an HBO subscription?
No.
No.
No, I was watching it with a friend who was like streaming it to me, or like watch partying.
Right. big jobs, big guns. Well, I mean, I could still work on it, but I think it's mostly there.
All right. The drawing looks fantastic, says mysterious person Tina Whelan.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look, there's another comment. 2 comments.
Well, that was just me saying, posting that video.
Okay. And we got two viewers. All right. Thanks for viewing, everybody. Sorry, I didn't really give you.
We have 3 viewers.
Oh, okay.
We've got 1 viewer on each platform.
Hooray! Okay, it only shows me 2. I don't know. The numbers aren't very good. I've noticed that in the past.
Oh, but hopefully we'll get some people watching the VOD. You can get. Well, yeah, I think you put this final image as the thumbnail. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed with Twitch is that people sort of come and go a lot, so there'll be sort of somebody for a bit and then somebody else. So, all right, thank you for viewing, everybody, or if you're watching it later on
YouTube,
right, archive it. YouTube at Urfspace, like and subscribe. All right, it's not technically for a scene from Predator Badlands because he's got his helmet off. And look like this scene, he should have his helmet on, at least in the cover. But all right, so I mix it up. So now it's my own. So I feel better if I mix it up a little bit. All right. Well, I can still see all these little things that I'd like to do.
Well, I mean, you took off the helmet and you made the sword be in the right direction.
Yes, the hand. I like the poster. I had to cut the sword a bit short, but it's all right. He's got a short sword. That's fine. Nobody knows about that. I didn't win any sort of blood splatters. I can get my toothbrush out and do a bit of blood splattering. How much trouble will I get myself in? Hopefully not too much.
That should be fine.
So little splatters here. Big splatter. So I'm just doing a little splatter.
That's an interesting technique.
That's the way you do it. Ooh, I splattered myself.
I think I saw that toothbrush on your desk at one point, and I was like, why does he have a toothbrush down here? Now I know.
Oh, that's how you get your splatter.
All right, well, I've got to get ready for my thing. So why don't we have an outro still, right?
Yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom of the scenes, there should be one that's like the
closing titles.
Closing titles.
All right, well, any last words?
No, hang on, let me bring myself big. All right. Yeah, all right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Good to see you. There's the art. Oh, wait, okay, wait. Yeah, all right. Thanks a lot. I don't know when we'll be back. I'm busy. Well, maybe next week. I don't know. Well, yeah, I'll have to see. If you'd like me to renew my Restream subscription and carry on doing some more shows for the rest of the month, then leave us a comment.
Sound off in the comments.
All right. Okay. I guess that's it. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks very much for tuning in.
Bye.
Here's a theme song for Chuck Whelan Showy. He asked me to write one, but I stole from David Bowie. Here's a theme song. Chuck Whelan is the best. We have lots of hosts, but we're running out of gas. Will you be our guest on? Will you be our guest on? Be on the Chuck Whelan Show. Whoa, 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 whoa.
If you're gonna have a show, you gotta have more guests, sweetie.